Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, and in today's video we will be talking about my spring TBR. Honestly, I have so many books that I would like to read in spring. It's mainly because this is probably one of the first times where I put my season TBR without actually connecting it to the season, because usually, like, obviously for winter I would look something a little bit more like wintry, where they have like wintry settings, or when they have like a wintry feeling. But for this spring I decided to just go rogue fantasy wise, because I think I only have a few that are not fantasy, and I think they are fiction. It could be romance as well, and but the rest are fantasy and even dark fantasy, because the thing is I love whimsical fantasy or just like romantasy. I mean, obviously it can be like dark fantasy, also romance, but I just have not really read anything dark fantasy-esque. So I thought, you know what a better way to start than now when I'm like currently really in the mood for it. So I decided to, I think not majority, but I think almost half of it dark fantasy. So let's just go through it. And I also only have half of the books of the TBR physically, because some of the books are so difficult to get here, but I will get them eventually, obviously. But now I will just talk you through the books that I have physically, and then we will talk about the Kindle ones, or like the books that I don't have physically right now. So yeah, let's get into it. First book that I have has been in my TBR for quite a long time, and since I've never read anything by this author, or even I think I have one of her books in my yearly TBR, but I don't really want to jump there immediately. So I want to read with her most famous novel, which is none other than, also I lost the sleeve, so don't mind it. It is The Nightingale by Kristen Hanna. You can see from the spine, I guess, but oh my gosh, I've heard so many good things about this. I really want to read more historical fiction in a way. I wanted to read The Book Thief first before going to The Nightingale, but something about just want to finish my yearly TBR faster than usual just makes me want to pick up The Nightingale a little bit more. I honestly know nothing other than this is in the middle of the World Wars, and it is between two sisters, and I think both of them, they have their partners, respective partners. We are pretty much just gonna go through their life during the war, I think. I don't know exactly how the story starts or ends. All that I know is that it's historical fiction, that it happens during the World Wars. I'm not sure if it's like the first one or the second one, or it spans out in between both of them, or even during both of them. So yeah, I am honestly really intrigued. I've heard so many good things. A lot of people say that this is also quite an emotional book, so I am quite nervous because I really hate like, I don't hate sad books, but I really just, I don't know if I'm ready for a sad book. I need it to be a little bit of like either an open end or quite happy. Like, it doesn't have to be like happy bubbly, but like a happy, good, realistic ending, which to some could be sad ending, but to me it's better than like where it's like, oh, I don't know. It just made me think of if he had been with me, which, because the ending was, and then I decided not to pick up the second book because it was just gonna destroy my feelings and my hope in sad books. So yeah, anyway, I digress, but that is the first book in the TBR, which is The Nightingale. Second book that I would like to pick up is a chunky one, but this is also a very anticipated read for me, I guess. But I am nervous because a lot of people do not love this series as much as her other series, which is none other than Crescent City by Sarah J Maas. I read the entirety of ACOTAR series 2 years ago, and then I read the Throne of Glass series last year, and I enjoyed it. I loved it. And now we're moving on to the big chunky books, which is the Crescent City books. And the first one that I have, obviously, is the first book, which is House of Earth and Blood. Pretty much all I know about this book is that it's about Bryce, and it is an urban fantasy. So we have phones, we have like I've seen a lot of fan art from this specific series. For some reason I see that she also has like a dog, if I'm not wrong. And yeah, and all I know after this is that the male main character is Hunt. That's it. I know nothing else, and I would like to get into this pretty blind. That's how I got into the Throne of Glass series, even though I think I semi-spoiled myself. Or like book talk, everybody spoiled like everyone in a way, because okay, I'm not gonna say why because then I'm about to spoil you as well, but I already know the main love interest in that series, which I think going in I didn't know, and then but like after a bit I was like, okay, now I know. And I think it would have been more interesting to not know the love interest because it just adds more to the story. But yeah, this one, the male main character is pretty much like all her male main characters, like Rhysand or Cassian or Azriel. Like they all have a pretty similar characteristics, personalities. So I'm just excited because I love the way she wrote her like male main characters so far. Yes, sometimes it's difficult to distinguish their like personalities whenever you just like cover their names, for example. But either way, I feel like it will be also, I don't know how long this book is, but I feel like the beginning of the year for me this year, I've read so many books longer than 500 pages. I do have that challenge for myself this year to read longer books, but it is quite crazy. That's why like whenever I read like a 300-page book, I was like, oh my gosh, this is a novella or something. Obviously it's not, but yeah, that is the second book. Continuing to the next few books, they are like a continuation of a series, so I'm just gonna go through them really fast because I don't know exactly what I can tell you because it's in the middle of the series. The third book that I have is the fourth book in the Ranger's Apprentice series by John Flanagan. I've been reading this series pretty slowly, I think. I read the third one, I think, a month ago, and I enjoyed it, and I really want to know what's happening. Also, like, the covers are just rogue, honestly. But yeah, I'm excited, and this is also one of the shorter books that I can, like, have as a palate cleanser. This is, I think, right under 300 pages, or exactly 300. No, it's right under 300 pages. So yeah, after the ending of the third book, I was a little bit worried there for our main characters, but there is this like thing that happened at the end that just gave me a little bit more hope for the fourth book. The people that I know around me that recommended me this series told me that the fourth book is one of their favorites. So yeah, I really am excited to continue the fourth one, which is, by the way, it's called The Battle for Scandia. So that's that. Continuing with series, I have Wild Eyes by Elsie Silver. I read Wild Love, I think last year when it came out. I didn't enjoy it as much as Chestnut Spring, but I don't know if there is any other book series that can top the Chestnut Spring series really when it comes to like cowboy romance in a way. So I also know from TikTok, because I saw like a video today in the morning, that the audiobook is read by Teddy Hamilton. Apparently Teddy Hamilton is like quite big in the romance audiobook genre, so I am excited. Maybe I'll pick up the audiobook, but I'm not sure. I feel like with romance, I like to read it physically and not really listen to it. I think this book is about Wes, if I'm not wrong. Yes, Weston. And this is the best friend of the male main character in the first book and the brother of the love interest in the first book. So yeah. Oh no, I think it's not the love interest of the I don't think it's the brother of the female. Oh gosh, I don't think it's the brother of the female main character in the first book, but it is the brother of, but I think it's the brother of someone. Wait, one second, let me check the first book. Honestly, I cannot figure it out right now. But yeah, that's all I know. And I don't think this is cowboy necessarily, but it is definitely a small town because Rose Hill is located pretty close to Chestnut Springs. And I love Elsie Silver's writing style, so I am just excited. And I think the trope for this is, again, like single dad nanny trope. And I feel like single dad nanny trope always hits somehow as like a palate cleanser. So I am really excited to pick this one up. Moving on to series, I guess this is considered one book, but I want to reread the first book before going into the second one, is the Divine Rivals and Ruthless Vows series. What is it called? Letters of Enchantment, if I'm not wrong. I read Divine Rivals quite a way back. I think if I'm not wrong, I read this 2023. So, and I gave it a 6 star because I love it so very much. I love how lyrical the writing style is. It's pretty much about Iris and Roman. They are living in the middle of war between two gods, and they are in a, like, I think if I'm not wrong, publishing. If it's not publishing, they're like in journalism, newspaper anchor kind of company, and they are just rivals to lovers in a way. They did not like each other in the beginning, but obviously throughout the book you get to know what happened, and the ending of this book is really insane. The cliffhanger, whenever I read this, I had like a good 8 months before the second book came out. So whenever it came out, I had too much like expectation for the second book, so I decided to like relax a little bit. And then now we are 1 year later after publication of the second book, which is Ruthless Vows, and I still have not read it, but I want to do this book justice by reading the first book first, or rereading the first books to like fully experience the second book. I know a lot of people say that the second book is not as good as Divine Rivals or like the first book, so I want to see what my opinions are on this. But honestly, I will just probably have a good time because her writing style is insane. And I kind of want to pick up other books by her as well, but I feel like her books are more fall and winter. I know this spring is an exception. I feel like spring is a meh season for me anyway. I love winter and I love autumn, but like spring, I'm really indifferent about it. So I thought, you know what? Let's make it a good time of just like reading some of like really could be top tier 6 star books series for me. So yeah, that will be, I guess, the 5th and the 6th book, or we can just count Ruthless Vows as like the 5th book. But I think, yeah, I will definitely film this again, and I know I'm rereading it, but I think I'm considering of filming like a reading vlog, reading these 2 books. So yeah, I'm really excited for that. Now, I have no more physical copies of any of the books that I'm gonna mention after this. So obviously I'm gonna put on the screen the covers, but the first one that I have is also a continuation to a series, which is Us Against You by Fredrik Backman. That is like the second book in the Beartown series. I think I rambled a lot about Beartown, so I don't think I need to go in depth about explaining it anymore, but pretty much it's about a town called Beartown that is so obsessed with hockey and everything, the well-being, the social aspect, every aspect of the town is influenced by hockey, or ice hockey specifically. So yeah, we are just going through that, and then in the middle of the book there's just some harrowing thing happened to this specific young girl in the book, and it is honestly heartbreaking. But yeah, I'm really excited to read the second book because, again, I need to stop rambling about this, but I love Fredrik Backman's writing style, and I am just excited to finish this series. I know Us Against You is the second book, and the third one I think is called The Winners, and hopefully I get to read that semi soon as well, even though it is definitely like a wintry book, but I think it should be fun. I'm really trying my best not to match my books to the season, but I think it's just more atmospheric in a way. That's why I do it all the time. But anyway, I digress. So that is the, I guess, 7th book. And the 8th book in this TBR is also a continuation to the series that I'm currently in the middle of, which is the second book in the Blood and Ash series by Jennifer L. Armentrout, which is A Kingdom of Flesh and Fire. So yeah, I am honestly I quite enjoyed the first book, and I semi know where it was going towards the end, and I was like, oh, okay, when it actually happened, I was like, oh, I guess this is supposed to be like a mind-blowing reveal, but I guess it was kind of teased in a way. But I definitely really enjoyed the first book, and it could be like a 5-star series to me, but I just need to continue reading the series. And I know, like, I don't think the series is done even. I think like we are 5 books in, if I'm not wrong, or the 5th book is coming out. Yeah, so I am definitely intrigued. I don't know how thick the book is, but definitely From Blood and Ash was pretty thick, so I'm quite nervous. But I didn't even feel like reading From Blood and Ash because it was so good and it just went by so fast. And I think I also love our main character Poppy, because Poppy is just like so constrained, I guess, as a person. So now she's not as constrained, she's just like unleashing everything, which I really like, to just see like the true colors of her personality in a way. That is the 8th book. Moving on to the 9th. It's not a continuation to a series anymore. It is Zodiac Academy, The Awakening by Caroline Peckham and Suzanne Valenti. I know they're also called the Twisted Sisters, if I'm not wrong. Honestly, I've got no idea what this series is about. I know that it's like 12 books, obviously, because it's like zodiac horoscope. And I know I don't know if it's dark fantasy, but I know it is dark academia. So it could be like dark fantasy. And another thing that I know is like it's also like a fantasy book with many occults, because I feel like I've heard so many things about there are fays and there are also other occults. I'm not quite sure what the others are, and that it's also about elemental magic. So it's like about fire, air, water, and so on and so on. But yeah, other than that, I am not sure, but I am in the mood to read some academia books, even though I know usually academia books are more like for fall for me, but somehow now I'm just so in the mood for it. So I definitely would love to start the series. And if I'm into that, I have like 11 other books that I can read from the series. And I know they release quite a few books outside the series as well, so I am definitely intrigued if I'm into this. I've heard not a lot of people enjoying the first one, but a lot of people enjoyed the continuation of the first book. So yeah, I want to see if I could be as obsessed as other people with this series as well, because I just want to be in with the hype, because oh my gosh, this but yeah, because I've just heard so many good things. Oh my gosh, is the lighting okay? Hopefully the lighting is okay, guys, because I think it's about to be sunset soon or something because of the sun. Anyway, ignore the sun for now. But yeah, that is pretty much Zodiac Academy. And I've heard that they are called the Twisted Sisters because the ending of the books are quite twisted and mind-blowing. So I'm really excited for the reveal, obviously. So yeah, that would be that. Continuing to the next book, I honestly lost count where we are right now, but the next one is Nocticadia by Carrie Lake. I think if you guys live, or like if you guys enjoy book content as much as I do, I think you guys probably heard about Nocticadia and a few books that are coming as well after this. Yeah, all I know about Nocticadia is that it is also an academia book. I think this is specifically dark academia, but I don't know exactly if it's dark academia or it's like dark romance. I also don't know if it's fantasy. Honestly, I try to get into books pretty blindly, so I don't know. I really don't know what's happening, but all I know that also has like a teacher-student trope dynamic, whatever it is that you call it, because I heard someone reviewed it that way, and I don't know if I'm into that. I read The Love Hypothesis, which is the only book that I've read in that genre specifically, so student teacher trope. I just hope that they're not a minor. I just hope that one of them is not a minor. The student one is not a minor. But other than that, I think if they're both grown adults, it's just their occupation really. So I think it should be fine. So I guess in a way it is like forbidden romance, maybe. We shall see. But that's pretty much all I know about Nocticadia, and I'm really, really excited to pick this one up because I just heard so many people talk about it and I just have to know why people love it so much. But yeah, moving on to the next one, which also got really, really viral, this book. It is none other than A Phantasma by Kaylee Smith. Again, the only thing I know is, you know what? Let me move a little bit so you guys don't get blinded So I decided to move a little bit so you guys don't get like blinded here. But yeah, I am excited for Phantasma. I've heard so many good things about it, and I think it is Hunger Games. But I know a lot of fantasy books says that like, oh yeah, it is Hunger Games like, or like always like Hunger Games X something. But I think this book is actually quite a good one-on-one representation of Hunger Games. At least that's what I've heard. Obviously, I don't know much about it, if any at all. But yeah, I think it is also dark fantasy. So we shall see. I don't know if it's dark fantasy, dark romance, whatever it is, it's dark. So we shall see. And hopefully, I'm reading so many dark books, so hopefully I enjoy them. It's also a series that I've never really like venture to, or like upon, like try to read. I've read some dark romance books. I don't know if I enjoyed them because I read Haunting and Hunting Adeline, and I read Hooked as well. So like Haunting and Hunting Adeline, I honestly did not really enjoy the books because in other, like, I understand, I guess, the appeal, but like some of the things that happened in that book, I was just worried for our main character. I was like, are you sure? Do you need help? Like, do you need someone to come and get you and save you? Like, obviously no, but it's just so concerning. I think I'm just like so concerned with our main character's well-being, because even though they're like so protective, they are also pretty, some of the things they do is questionable. So yeah, that is pretty much that. The thing is, I don't know enough about dark romance. That's why I want to like try and test the waters, whether it's like that, those specific books, or that I don't like this genre in general. So I want to pick that one up to see whether I actually enjoy it, and I'm just being very picky with Hunting and Haunting Adeline and Hooked. So yeah, that's that. And we are coming to the last book in this TBR, which is like the 12th book, I think, if I'm not wrong, in this pile, which is In the Weeds by B.K. Borson. I heard so many good things about this contemporary romance book. I heard mainly the first book in the series. I think it's called Lovelight Farms. It is a Christmassy romance book. So I obviously passed the time to read that, but I think it is like I don't know if it's a series or it's interconnected series. I have to look it up. So this one probably a maybe, just in case it is like connected. I also know it's 4-book series and they're all like following the season. So I'm not sure if I can just pick up the second one, which is obviously in spring. This is the only book in this pile in my TBR that is spring related of some sort. So yeah, other than that, I know nothing about In the Weeds, but I think because it's a contemporary romance, I like to get into it pretty blind, and whenever someone talk about it, I like skip because I know I want to read it and I don't want to know anything about it. So yeah, pretty much that's all I know. Nothing. Oh yeah, so those are the books that I would love to read in the spring, I guess, season. I think spring is probably like April, May, June, if I'm not wrong, because I don't know, I feel like March is kind of spring, but it's also not kind of spring. And March, I already have a full-on TBR, so definitely did not read any of this. So this is definitely for April through June. So I am honestly very, very excited to just see whether I'm into. This is also a very fantasy heavy TBR. So I am quite nervous. I don't want to give myself like a slump, like a fantasy slump, but I don't think it's quite difficult to give me like a fantasy slump unless it's like very complicated, like political world building system, which I don't think any of these are, except maybe Crescent City could be complicated. But if it's like Throne of Glass and ACOTAR, I definitely could digest it pretty well. So yeah, other than that, I will probably set up my reading journal to just journal a little bit about my spring TBR, which I will probably insert now. So yeah, that was my reading journal. I obviously have not filmed it now because this is me right after the intro, so I don't know how it turns out, but I hope you guys enjoyed the journaling section there. And yeah, that's it. And I hope you guys enjoy my spring TBR, and I hope you guys are excited for some of these books because I'm gonna obviously include them in some other reading vlogs in the upcoming future. And yeah, let me know down below what you guys are reading in spring, or if you guys have read any of these books. Let me know down below if you guys love it. Obviously, no spoiler because that would be not nice. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in my next one. Goodbye.